Micromanagement is not cute. It was never cute. It will never be cute. Don't try to make it cute. And if you are someone who is trying to make it cute, we putting a stop to that today. Greetings, good day, and welcome. I'm Deanna, project manager, grants consultant, and the biggest micromanager hater.
Hater alert! Hater alert! Hater alert!
Recently, I got a comment on my 1-year work anniversary video that asked, question, you mentioned not micromanaging your team members. Can you do a video explaining a little more about that? I've realized that when I don't follow up on certain things from my team, it goes undone. So I've developed a habit of checking in and asking about those items. How can one find a balance? There's like the thinnest line between micromanagement and making sure that your team stays on task. Today, we're gonna make that line a little bit thicker, and we're going to do our best to not cross it. First and foremost, to catch micromanagement, we have to make sure that we understand what micromanagement even is. So, a simple definition is that micromanagement is when a manager excessively controls or closely monitors their team's work. The key word in that sentence is excessively. It is vital to make sure that your team is staying on task, that all your projects and everything that needs to be handled is getting done, and that is being completed in a timely fashion. However, that does not mean that you have to hover over people and be on their ass 24/7 to ensure that these things get done. Again, the key word here is excessively. It's not that you're not supposed to monitor or you're not supposed to check in, but it has its limits. And usually when you pass that limit, that means you are micromanaging. We know what micromanagement is and we're able to point it out and know what it looks like, but why do people still even practice it? Though I am a big hater of micromanagement, I too am guilty of practicing it.
You're a phony! Hey, this guy's a great big phony!
I'm pretty sure others can resonate. I have had to deal with individuals that if I literally was not on their ass, they would not have ever given me anything that I've needed. And even in the instances where I was practicing micromanagement, I still didn't get what I need. And because I was not receiving what I needed from a few, it traumatized me in other work relationships. So then I felt like I had to practice micromanagement wherever I went. But one, I learned not to carry that trauma into my other work relationships. And two, micromanagement is not only annoying to the person that I am micromanaging, but it's also harmful to myself. I find myself just much more anxious. I am not as trustworthy of the people that I'm working with. They're probably not as trustworthy of me as well. We built up resentfulness amongst each other, and the constant nagging and side eyes and secret looks and such and secret annoyances never got us nowhere. It is a very, very, very common concern, but there are a lot more effective strategies to make sure is getting done that don't got nothing to do with micromanagement. First and foremost, the easiest way that you're going to avoid micromanagement is to first have project management systems set up and in action. There are so many project management tools available that you'll be able to find one that is best for you and your team. They have Monday.com, they have Asana, they have Trello, they have Notion. I think they have something called Motion. That's an AI No, I think that's a calendar thing, but you could probably use that too. Whichever platform that you choose, they all allow you to set deadlines, to create tasks, to manage projects amongst multiple team members. And the best part is that you'll be able to monitor processes without having to hover over your team. As mentioned in my productivity tools video, myself and my clients use Monday.com. We are monitoring dozens of projects at a time. Even just on my own grants and development board, there are numerous grants and applications and awards and reports and projects and things all related to funds and fund development work that I am tracking in this one board. And not only is this a track record for myself, but the team that I'm on is able to see what I am doing, and whatever task that I am going to need their assistance on is also in Monday.com. However, instead of me having to remind them and sending out, an extra email or a text message or a call, if they miss anything, Monday.com has automations that will give them a little, hey, remember that thing that you had to get done for Deanna? It's due now. That takes me out of the equation of having to send those reminders. And sometimes I forget myself to remind, so I already got something set up. That's good to go. Project management systems will allow you to set it and forget it until, you get the reminder to not forget it anymore. It's very important for you to have a project management system, but it's just as important for you to also have great communication amongst your team. For me, the easiest way to streamline communications is to use a communication platform. Things like Google Chat or Slack, Microsoft Teams. I know you guys are probably already utilizing these for yourself, but if you are not, a communication platform is heavy on keeping micromanagement at a minimum. These platforms offer a way for you to easily stay connected, to share any updates that you may have, and you can quickly resolve any issues or problems or just quick fixes that don't need to be said over an email. You could just do in the chat. On top of using these platforms to just stay connected with your team, it's also a nice way to, have some more human interaction, even though it's virtual. I feel like emails sometimes can feel very disconnected. So if you are using something like I use, which is Google Chat, it's a little bit more personal and you can directly communicate with the person and they just immediately get the message versus having to send an email, then another email, and then another email. And also make sure you're starting all your messages with a greeting, engage with your coworkers, be nice, treat them like human beings. In the midst of you communicating and using these platforms to connect with your teammate, make sure that you are also showing that you trust them as well. I probably should have mentioned this first, but the biggest thing that is going to help you not micromanage is if within yourself and amongst your team, you have already built up trust and you have already shared with your team members that you trust them to get these tasks done, that you empower them and let them know that anything that they are stuck on or that they need guidance with, that they could come to you for, and you're just giving them inspiration to take ownership of what they need to get done. If you build up that natural trust amongst your team, you won't have to hound them down because naturally they'll want to do their job. There's a difference between being supportive and ensuring that they have what they need to get the task done versus controlling and just wanting the task completed, but you're not being supportive or helpful or helping them get to the finish line any easier or quicker. Support, control. Support, control. If building up trust and empowerment and just better communication amongst your team is something that you're still working on, then you should try just scheduling some regular check-ins. In my role as a project manager, my boss is the VP of development, and us being in the development department, we have structured weekly check-ins that we follow an agenda to make sure that we are going through whatever projects that need to get done, any supports that she needs from me, anything that I might need from her is also being discussed, in addition to sharing any progress that has been made with anything that we are working on or anywhere that we might be stuck and are needing some guidance. It does not have to be weekly. You can schedule your check-ins with your team or particular team members in accordance with how frequently you would think you would have to meet. I would suggest maybe starting with something bi-weekly, just depending on your schedules, just so you're not overwhelming somebody with yet another meeting. But just having a regularly occurring meeting will not just be able to keep you guys on track with sharing your progress with different tasks and projects, but it will also take away from having to check in more than that. What I mean is that if you already have a set, let's say bi-weekly meeting scheduled with your team or team member, that'll eliminate the excessive check-ins that you might be doing on a weekly or daily basis. Since you already know that this meeting will be coming up, you won't have to constantly check in. You won't have to constantly ask them about A, B, and C because you know that they will have to have things completed by the check-in, or at least to have made some progress, because you cannot come to a check-in meeting on the progress of tasks without making any progress. Right? These check-ins with my boss has also allowed us to cultivate a better relationship, not just professionally, but personally as well. We utilize these check-ins not just to keep each other on task, but to see how we are, and just building up that rapport and kind of just, treating your teammates as human beings just makes micromanagement less likely to occur, and the less likely that you would even have to use it because your team members love and respect you and y'all get along, and they see see that you care about them beyond just being a worker that got to get tasks done. Like, we not just worker bees. We're humans. Now, if you would like to learn more from your team, or if some people feel like maybe they don't want to share things, they want to be anonymous and such, then I would suggest having some feedback tools. Using tools like SurveyMonkey or Google Forms for anonymous feedback can be super helpful in any team space. It helps to truly understand team dynamics, understand where any help or support is needed, and overall, you just get a better sense of how your team is doing. I believe it's really important to get feedback from your entire team and making sure that they are as comfortable with telling you how they feel and how their work environment is as possible, versus, you know, any anxiety or resentfulness or distrust or fear building up. Those surveys kind of help, you know, break the ice and get people a little bit more comfortable. But do not be individuals that conduct surveys and don't take the feedback of your employees into consideration. So bonus tool, another one that I talked about in my productivity tools video, is to better understand your work type and the work type of your team. You guys should definitely go to sparktype.com. This will allow you and your team to understand your work style and your strengths within the office much better, and just how you guys can work better together. If I understand my strengths, my team's strengths, what areas we still need to like work and improve on, how what I may lack in, another person may have strengths in, and vice versa, that allows us to operate in a much more cohesive, efficient, and effective manner. And who don't want that in a workspace? Ultimately, if you guys understand each other more, if you are better able to understand how others communicate more and what their work style is in addition to your own work style, that naturally builds up trust and respect and honoring each other, which means you don't gotta micromanage. And trust me, the world will be a better place with less micromanagers. I promise you that. As someone who has practiced micromanagement and has been exposed to a micromanager, I can tell you that though these strategies have helped in eliminating micromanagement and avoiding it, it's going to take time. The transition will not be overnight, but I promise you, if you enact these tools and these strategies and really start using them amongst your team and allowing this to naturally like process, you'll see how much more eliminating micromanagement enhances the productivity and satisfaction of your team. All in all, avoiding micromanagement is really all about leveraging the right tools, making sure that you set clear goals, building trust amongst your team, and making sure to do your best to maintain open communication. But I promise you, with patience, you got this. You got this. No more micromanaging. If you are someone who has practiced micromanagement or who has been exposed to a micromanager and have any tips on how you've overcome that challenge, I would literally love to hear how you handled them. Please make sure to share your experiences, tools, and any strategies that you have in the comments below. As always, thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please make sure to subscribe, like, and share with anybody that can use this. Remember, the less micromanagers in the world, the better. Stay tuned for more, and until next time, y'all. Bye.